was at the height of the hippie days. He recognized in them the soul's longing for God and for reality. He could see beyond the outer scruffiness. But what he did during his Kundalini Yoga classes was tell us these amazing stories that you find in Sikh history, because this was his background. And I started doing Kundalini Yoga, which in itself was a miracle, because I am the least physically adept person you would ever find. And I found that it made me feel really good. And then I'm hearing all these stories, and it's very inspiring, and we all love to be with him. He had this charisma about him. And the thing is, it wasn't fake. He had this thing that a real master has, which is the awareness of God in everybody. And so he loved everyone. And this is what all the kids responded to. I didn't have any specific questions. I found that the way he taught was such that it answered questions without their needing to be asked. When he talked about the fact that the breath of life in you is God's gift, it made sense. When you die, he explained, it isn't because of accident, it isn't because of illness, it's because the breath is withdrawn. And who's giving you the breath? He used to say, you're not breathing, something's breathing in you. So he said, you can call it whatever you like. And then he talked about G-O-D. He says, if you want to find God, look in the dictionary. It's that which generates, organizes, and then delivers or destroys. So you can call it intelligence or consciousness or creativity. And everything that he said was logical. And he would say, don't believe me. He said, doing is believing. Try this. And it was that way with Kundalini Yoga. And it worked. I mean, people experienced a change of consciousness because Kundalini Yoga works very fast to take the Kundalini energy, which we already have, and raise it to the higher chakras, the energy centers. And again, he didn't teach esoterically. He taught from a practical standpoint of how you're going to feel when your energy is here and when it's there, and what's the advantage, and try it. And one of the things that he did that was so remarkable, I think, was to restore self-esteem in people. The way that he restored self-esteem for people was to constantly remind us that we are already divine beings, and that we were born divine and we're here to learn to be human. And he would give us positive affirmations such as God and me and God are one. And he would say, I know you don't believe it, but say it. And he would have us chant things like that. His first pronouncement, if you will, back in January 5th, 1969, when he gave his first public lecture, was that it is your birthright to be healthy, happy, and holy. And Kundalini Yoga is the tool. But he had such a magnetism, and people would attend a lecture. There could be 100 people or 500 people, and each one felt he was talking to them. It was that sort of thing. Or someone would say afterwards, he answered just the question that I had. You know, I tell my yoga students that spirituality cannot be taught, it has to be caught, like the measles. And he had it, he just was it. And so it rubs off on you. He just understood every human being from the inside out, and he knew what makes us tick. His approach to everyone was, he saw the potential, he saw the excellence, and he often described the relationship between a teacher and a student as that between a sculptor and the marble. And the sculptor has this chisel, and so it's not necessarily comfortable. Yogi Bhajan was probably the most quotable person that I can imagine. And he read a book when he was 9 years old called, and my memory fails me at the moment, it'll come back. But the first line of the book is, "It's not the life that matters, it's the courage that you bring to it." And he would say this over and over, and it became very much a part of the way he approached everything. When Liv Tar Singh wrote Song of the Khalsa, he said, "When things are down and darkest, that's when we stand tallest." It's based on that concept that you do what needs to be done. He would say, "Dutiful is beautiful," and rise to the call. And there would always be these gems coming out during his classes that you would remember because they were great sound bites. Even on the back of his calling card, it would say, "If you can't see God in all, you can't see God at all." And he tried to make us understand and feel that that was the way we should be, just because he lived it. Whatever he taught, he lived. He used to say, "Don't love me, love my teachings," because he knew he wouldn't be here forever. From very early days, he talked about he was going to die soon. Especially in the early 80s, we were waiting any minute. And he tried, I think, to get us ready. He had been told by an astrologer that he would live to be 47. But as you know, he lived to be 75. And the last years of his life, his physical body was in terrible shape. He had gone through a kidney transplant in India, which was successful. He had gone through a quadruple bypass for the heart. And still he kept teaching, and he taught up until the very last minute when he could, because that was his life. That was his main physical identity, was as a teacher. He was a teacher of teachers.
Om Namo Guru